Hi YouTube. So I thought I'd tell you I bought a new car, my 135i. It was causing me some problems, so I just had to replace it because each month I was just fixing one item after another, and it basically got too much. I spent more time fixing the car than actually enjoying it. So I pulled the trigger on a 2018 BMW M240i. The BMW M240i is an M Performance product that sits below the BMW M2. It can go from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 4.3 seconds and has a 12.7 second quarter mile time. It's bestowed with BMW's 3-litre single turbo B58 engine that's also installed in the Toyota A90 Supra. Yeah, let's see what it drives like. Suspension is in comfort, and I'm changing it to Sport Plus mode. That loosens the DSC to give a little bit of slip to the rear wheels, but not too much, so it keeps the car controlled and on the road. So I'm going to try it on some curves now. Here we go. Loving that standard at B58, turning nicely. As you can see, tyres are not screaming. I can really lean into the corner hard. Responsive engine. I mean, it's 335 horsepower, so nowhere near as fast as what my 135i was and other cars I've reviewed on this channel, but as you can see, it just hangs on. Feels good. Really confident. Like it. Braking, turning again. Again, so much confidence. But this car has got so much grip. Confident in turning. There's a little bit of body roll. It's not too much. I thought, and I've read that BMW really toned down the suspension on the M240i, and I mean, I don't really feel that. Okay, it does move around a bit. I can steer on the throttle as well. Yeah, it moves around a bit, but it's not jumping out of line. It's quite a comfortable ride. The torque from this B58 is so strong, responsive. I mean, I'm throwing this around. I don't know if you can see the steering wheel that much, but and the car's just hanging on. I don't feel like I'm gonna crash. It just feels so confident. It feels great. Okay, so as far as I'm concerned, if you want to buy an M240i but you really want an M2, the M2 is a better car, that's for sure, but the M240i is just a little slower. Okay, it's not a lot slower. Corners really fast. I mean, you would not feel shortchanged in the M240i, especially with a good set of tyres. This is an M Lite, so it's not a real M car, it's a M240. So some people say, well, it should really be called a 240i, not an M240i. But I think BMW did a decent job at the suspension. It's not as sharp as the full M products, but I'm in the canyons, and I'm driving it pretty hard, and I don't feel, oh, I should have better body control. I don't feel I should have better damping. I can keep it flat through some moderate speed corners as well. Front end is really grippy. It's not sliding out. There's a tiny bit of body roll, but I think that it's a great amount of body roll because it's telling me where the limits are. It's like the limits are not suddenly going to snap on me and I'm going to lose control. You know, I can feel progressive understeer and it feels really good. This corner's pretty tight, so this is a good test. Yeah, hanging on. So the body roll is there, but I would say that it's advantageous to have this body roll. Carries so much speed through the corners. And this car is fast. I mean, for a stock car, it still impresses me. Coming out of the 135i, you know, I thought this would have been really slow. And this, on the straights, is neck and neck with a N55 powered M2. So, you know, the 2017 to the 2019 M2, it's about the same power as the M55. Although BMW says that it's only 335 horsepower, I think they're lying. I think this is probably closer to 370 to maybe 380 at the crank. It is pretty fast. One thing I don't like about what BMW did, as well as the all-season run flats, was the top speed limiter. I think that, you know, on the track or on the Autobahn, you get up to that speed really quickly, and it kind of limits you, kind of kills the fun. But I understand why it's there. Again, on the straights, and it's decent, good power. This 8-speed ZF or ZF gearbox is excellent, extremely responsive, always in the right gear. One thing I'd like to add about the M240i is the steering. So obviously all new cars have got electric power steering, and the steering in this car, even though now it's in Sport Plus mode, it still feels pretty light. It's heavier than the previous modes, but all it does is really add weight. I mean, the steering is really direct, and it feels good to a certain extent, but it's not particularly feelsome. And you know, you could say that about the M4, the M3 and the M2 as well. It's not great, and to be honest, I think it's the one thing that lets the car down. Overall, it's a really great package, and for street driving, I think that you would have to be an absolute lunatic to exceed the ability of this car on the public road. So again, to conclude, is it worth buying over an M2? No, it's not worth buying over an M2. But this car is brilliant. Brilliant. You can get in these canyons and you can keep up with some really fast cars. I love the compact size of it as well. I think it's reminiscent in its dimensions of the E46 M3. So you could also say that this car captures the spirit of the E46 M3 in its dimensions. Steering lets it down, but if it had better steering, it probably would be as good as an E46 M3. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more Speed Addiction episodes, more cars coming soon. Alright, see you next week. Bye.